All right. Hello, and welcome back to the Thought Cloud podcast. Our goal with this conversation is to uncover a hidden gem that can inspire others along their collegiate journey. Our guest today is Ollie Osborne. Ollie and I grew up going to school and playing sports together since we were not even 5 feet tall, and he has just graduated from SMU this spring, where he got his degree in real estate finance, and he played on their varsity golf team. Ollie has done some amazing things in his time as a golfer. During his time on the SMU golf team, he had 2 individual college wins. He played in the 2019 Barracuda Championship, which is a PGA tournament. He was the runner-up at the 2020 US AM, which allowed him to play in the 2021 Masters and the 2021 US Open. So some of the biggest tournaments a golfer can imagine to be in. Ollie, you have so much to share with us throughout your path. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Ollie. Appreciate it.
100%. 100%. No, I'm really looking forward to this. So let's kick it off. Let's go from the beginning. So when did you start playing golf? Let's start there.
Yeah, pretty much I started when I could walk. My dad kind of put a club in my hands. He was really good at that with all of my siblings, just kind of, put a club in my hands. And it kind of allowed him to actually go out to the golf course. So he was pretty stoked with that too. And then from that, my brother, I had an older brother, older sister. So I just kind of kept up with that. We grew up ski racing and playing baseball and all that, like with you and all. But yeah, just at a really young age, honestly.
That's really cool. So you've always been in this sport. And, I remember back when we were playing Little League baseball, I'd hear stories of you going from the baseball tournament and taking a plane to a different state to compete in a golf tournament at the same time. Like, unbelievable, the dedication. When did you start taking golf seriously? When did this click for you and become a passion?
Yeah, I'd say probably 8th grade was when I really knew I wanted to go for it.
You say eighth grade or 5th grade?
8th grade.
8th grade.
Yeah. My brother, Steven, probably made the decision right around freshman year of high school for himself, that he wanted to take golf seriously. And I always liked what he was doing. So mine was soon after. So I decided to do that.
Very cool. Very cool. So what got you hooked initially? Like, what was the drive for you? Because obviously, like you said, you did ski racing, you played baseball and golf, of course. What about golf stood out to you that said, okay, this is the one I want to pick?
Yeah. When I was growing up playing baseball and ski racing, I didn't love those as much. I think it was just as simple as that. I liked being outdoors. I really liked following what Steven did, honestly. Just kind of being around him, being able to travel with him and my dad. And I really liked the travel aspect. We got to go to a bunch of different states, especially in junior golf, and just kind of like that whole aspect.
Definitely.
So it just kind of took me along the ride.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's really cool. What are some of the coolest spots that you think you've traveled to?
Wow. Well, I'm up in Canada right now, and I hadn't been to Canada until about 3 weeks ago. But yeah, it's awesome up here. Been a lot of fun. I've been over to England and Scotland and Ireland, all that. That was a really cool trip. Got to do that with my dad. Play a
That's
couple
really cool.
tournaments over there.
That was first
Yeah.
tournaments. What kind of tournaments were those?
Yeah, that was my freshman year summer. I did one of them was called the St. Andrews Links, so I got to play at St. Andrews for a tournament, and then we did the British Am, which so there's like a US Am, and then the British Am is pretty much the equivalent, just over in England.
Gotcha.
And that was over in Ireland. But yeah, it was super unique tournament, really cool to be around. And I mean, I travel all over the US. A lot of cool places around the US, but I think going to other countries is pretty fun.
Definitely. God, I can only imagine. That's so cool. I think baseball, the extent of our travel was maybe a state or two across, but it sounds like
Yeah.
with golf, you get to really spread your wings and do some really cool trips.
Yeah, for sure.
what would you say about your love for the game? How has your love for the game evolved over time? Like, obviously, you get to see a lot of things. You get to play with more competitive people.
Hmm.
Your craft is improving all the time. But what would you say, from how you initially gotten into it to now? What do you love most?
Yeah. So I kind of first decided to go for it in eighth grade, as I said. And that was more of kind of getting a scholarship into college, like kind of finding my way into like a decent college. And then about, I'd say, junior year of high school, I kind of realized that I could actually do more with it than just actually get to a decent college. Um, and I spent so much time playing the game of golf, I kind of um, fell in love with it. And uh, just, I'd say that, I don't know, it's hard to describe just one thing you like about it. It's almost like you love the whole game. I love being outdoors, like I said before. Um, I mean, the feeling you get when you hit a good shot, just hitting like a pure one off the club face is just unreal. Um, and then it's awesome. Like at these bigger tournaments I've played, I've actually have a crowd behind you. That's been some of the most fun I've ever had. Like Masters, U.S. Open, um, to actually have people rooting for you and like well over like 1,000 people just watching you hit a golf shot. It's so fun. I love a lot of things about golf, honestly.
That's super cool. No, it's neat to hear how that, that environment has kind of changed over time as well. With, like you said, you got people following you across, around the golf course, watching your shots, rooting you on. I remember back at the Barracuda, actually, because that's for the listeners listening. The Barracuda is a tournament that we have in town in Reno, Nevada, and I mean, we'd always go as kids to watch these pros play. And then one year,
Mhm.
Ollie Osborne's playing in it. It was just unbelievable. And I just remember walking around these holes and watching you hit. It was unbelievable. Um, well, that's awesome. I mean, I think you nailed it there in the sense of there's not one thing that you necessarily like. There's just so many facets to it. And, I kind of
Mhm.
want to touch back on the idea of what you said when it really clicked for you and you said, I can actually do more than just go to college for this. I can actually take this to another level. What is that feeling like? For somebody that may not have that feeling, what is there excitement, fear, anxiousness? Like, how does that feel when you know it's gonna click?
Uh, I'd say it doesn't like happen like just like an instant, but it's more of like a whole process. Like it's more of like slowly kind of building up and then kind of you start to realize it. I'd say you kind of feel everything, like fearful of, I'm a, you're not really like jumping off a ledge. You just kind of, I mean, I guess I sacrifice more time with other things. And I was willing to make it because I just loved it so much. But yeah, it was just it was just more of a build up type of thing. Just took a long time, and a lot of time spent on the driving range, all that. And then I honestly I hate that it's part of my personality, but I depend on others to tell me that I'm good or like I'm good at something. Um, and so like people started to say that, oh, you're good at this game and like you can take it to another level, or college coaches can reach out to you and stuff like that. So I had a couple people like that kind of come through, and that helped me a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's huge what you said. It doesn't happen overnight. Um,
Mhm.
you have been working at this game, like you said, since you could walk. So um, for you to continue down that path and see it constantly evolve, that's awesome. Nothing comes overnight, and it's all hard work, and that's what you're all about that. So I love that. I want to talk now about you've played in some of the biggest tournaments that a golfer can play in. So you played in the 2021 Masters and you played in the 2021 US Open. Um, First of all, tell us about that. What was that like when you heard that you were qualifying for those?
So yeah, I made it through that 2020 USAM up in Bandon, Oregon. Um, and then I mean it was that happened in August in 2020, and I had 8 months until the Masters, and those 8 months just absolutely flew by. But yeah, I was trying trying to get ready for it and all that. Just kind of sticking to my practice plan, all that. But yeah, I mean, the Masters is the biggest tournament you'll ever play in as a golfer. Um, I know there's like team events like the Ryder Cup and President's Cup, but as far as individual tournaments, the Masters is the best thing you'll ever play in. So it was just like playing in the Super Bowl. Sorry, there's a bunch of mosquitoes up here.
You're all good.
And so yeah, it was just kind of jumping right into it. And I was nervous as hell. But we eventually got there.
That's awesome. So, and just for the listeners that, I mean, I'm sure most people have heard of the Masters if they've heard of golf. Everyone that's heard of golf has heard of the Masters, but talk about how difficult that is to get into those tournaments and really what it took. So you said that you came runner up in the 2020 US Am, but describe that process. So what are the steps it takes to get there?
Yeah. So if you're top 50 in the world as a professional, you get into the Masters, and then there's 8 amateur exemptions. So winner and runner up at the USAM. There's a Latin America amateur you have to win. Asian Pacific amateur you have to win, and then the British Am is another one. I might be forgetting one or two, but yeah, these like top amateur events that you can qualify for the Masters and so a couple other majors through that. But as far as professionals go, you have to be top 50 in the world. And the field is about 84 guys. So yeah, it's a super prestigious field, and it's honestly really hard to get in, and I'm blessed that I was able to do so.
Yeah, no, I mean that's crazy that you're able to, because you were still in college while you did that. And how many college athletes actually get to compete in the Masters? How many did that year?
The year I played, so it was a COVID. There was a bit of COVID stuff, so only of those 3 amateurs got to play.
Wow.
So the USAM champ and and then the British Am champ was the only 3 that year.
That is so huge. That is unbelievable. And so then the US Open, which is, just another humongous tournament. Actually, the US Open was just last week, right?
The 2022 one, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but so you played the 2021 US Open. Mm-hmm. And is the qualifying for that tournament the same as qualifying for the Masters because you won the 2020 USAM?
Yes. So you runner up,
or you
the 2020 USAM gets into the US Open as well. So that was part of the same exemption. So that helped for sure.
Yeah, being in those tournaments and having golfed your entire life and now playing in the top tournaments that a golfer can play in, what significance did that hold to you? Did that give you that pat on the back that you've been looking for to give you that extra boost to keep going forward?
Yeah, it's a huge confidence boost. I mean, yeah, those are things I only dream of. It's you kind of build up to those tournaments. You're always looking forward to them. And I mean, like this year, I was even stoked to watch them on TV. It's like you grew up watching them as a kid. But yeah, it's just so cool that I was able to do that. And yeah, it was a huge confidence boost and kind of helped me to try to keep going for sure.
Definitely. Well, when will we see you back there?
Hopefully, I'd say hopefully within 3 years. It's a bit of a process as a pro. So
what does it look like as a pro? You said that the top 50 pros get to go in?
Yeah, top 50 in the world get into those tournaments. So I'll describe. So I'm on Canadian tour right now, and that's equivalent to like AA baseball.
Okay.
So there's Canadian tour and Latin America tour are on the same level, and then the next level is Corn Ferry tour, and then the next one is PGA tour.
Gotcha.
And so I'm on the bottom rung, but I'm technically on the rung. So
exactly.
We're starting we're starting off at the small point, but yeah, hopefully work my way up there.
No, definitely. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we're excited to see you on the screen and see you continue to kill it. I want to touch back now about the Barracuda because this is cool because this is something that was in our hometown.
Mm-hmm.
You know, something we always were able to go to. And Montreux is actually your home course, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to play in this tournament where the Barracuda is. And how was that experience? I mean, all of those factors coming into place. What was that actually like for you?
Yeah, it was super cool. Yeah, I had the hometown crowd. I mean, I probably played Montreux easily like 1,000 times before that weekend. Yeah, super cool. I grown up, getting autographs from pro down there. Um, just kind of going through that entire process. I just remember that first tee shot. I was so damn nervous. It was a hell of a fun week.
I bet it was one hell of a fun week. What do you think made you nervous on that first tee box shot? What were the emotions like in that moment?
Yeah, I mean, it's always like a big hype to be in your first PGA event. It was by far the best tournament I ever played in by then. Yeah, so super nervous about that. Um, I wouldn't say like the hometown crowd, home course crowd, didn't really make me that nervous. If anything, it actually made me a little less nervous. Kind of have some people around me that I knew. Honestly, I think it just all the nerves came from being in my first PGA event.
Yeah.
So it was,
Yeah, no, I can only imagine. I mean, that's unbelievable. And actually, Stephen caddied you, right?
yep, yeah, had Big Bro in the bag for that one.
That's awesome. That's so cool to see you guys out there. Um, that's so much fun. Well, I'm glad it's been awesome to see the journey unfold. It's been great to see where, you know, you've been headed towards and what you're going to continue to accomplish. So I love that. Super excited to watch you over these next 3 years. But let's talk a little bit about your time at SMU. So you graduated with a degree in real estate finance.
Mm-hmm.
And what about SMU, drove you to make that decision? Why did you say I want to go to SMU opposed to another school? Were you deciding between any others?
Yeah, I had a lot of recruited from a lot of West Coast schools. I'd say I did a little bit of recruiting with the coach at Stanford, um, Arizona, UNR, and then ASU, SMU. Um, I don't know. It kind of fell in my lap a little bit. Friend had given me the head coach number, and I called him. I remember it was my freshman year of high school, so got a little bit in touch and kind of kept up with it. And, my dad actually went to SMU back in the '80s when it was the Pony Express days.
Gotcha.
And said he had like a hell of a fun time. Loved Dallas and all that. So that definitely had some weight. And then while I was kind of trying to figure it out, junior year of high school, we got some other commits. Actually, I'm up here with one of the buddies I just graduated. His name's Noah Goodwin, and then the other guy, Ben Wong. They were both 1 and 2 in the world as juniors, and they were both committed. So we had the best recruiting class. They were building a brand new course for us. Yeah, right in the middle of Dallas, Texas, and it was all the pieces just kind of fell together, and I loved the people and all that stuff.
Definitely. No, I've heard great things about SMU. Going back, that would definitely be a school I would have considered more if I had to go through it again, because just like you said, I mean, just a gorgeous area, great community. And it sounds like for golf, especially, they were doing everything in your guys' power. So you guys had the top recruiting class of that year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, back in 2018.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And you guys did really well, actually. Didn't you just win a championship a couple weeks ago?
We this year we struggled a little bit, but we we made it all the way to match play my freshman year in the national championship, which is like between the top 8 teams in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had that COVID year was the next year. Yeah, COVID was sophomore year, and then so we didn't have a national championship. Made it back to the national championship my junior year, And then this year we actually fell short of making it back. But no, we had a lot of fun these 4 years.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I brought that up. I thought that I saw some picture of you guys winning some tournament
Oh, that was our conference championship. That
conference
was back in April.
in
Yeah.
April. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Well, I mean, at least you guys got that under the belt for the last year. You came up a little shorter than you'd like to. But so tell us a little bit about, this real estate finance degree as well. Did you go into SMU with the idea that that's what you wanted to study? Was your main focus golf and okay, I'm going to figure out what's going to fit into my schedule? How did this whole thing look?
Yeah. If I had to do it just by myself, I would have chosen like the easiest major possible. But my parents always wanted me to try to excel in school. So I tried my best. I was able to get into the business school um, after the first 2 years. You just need like a 3.5 GPA. And then so got into there. And then I went to my advisor and I asked, what is the easiest major in the business school? And they said it was real estate finance. So decided to go with that path. And it worked out for the better.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that. Well, that kind of is a good highlight, and I think a good transition into the idea of balancing school and golf. Because that's a lot that you're doing. You're always at the range.
Yeah.
Probably have a lot of workouts, team building, etc. What does a day to day look like for a student athlete at SMU that's on the golf team?
Yeah. So we usually do morning classes. So I usually went to class from about 8 to noon, and then you just kind of head straight out to the golf course and start your practice. Usually back dark and try to squeeze a workout there. And then yeah, it kind of depended on the daily thing. You might be playing with the team, or you just kind of practicing on your own. But that whole afternoon is pretty much dedicated to golf.
How do you balance all of that in one schedule?
Yeah. I think our coaches were pretty lenient with school. They always wanted us to do well. And the nice thing was, like in the fall semester, our spring or our fall season was done. That's the weird thing about golf. We have a fall and spring. So by the end of the semester in fall, we were able to kind of focus on our classes and get caught up. Yeah, usually spending a little more time in the library than on the golf course, unfortunately. But you just kind of have to do it. But I wish I was on the golf course more, honestly. But it honestly wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
What are some good lessons that you can share with other young student athletes that are getting into the swing of it?
Yeah. I've always heard this thing where you have like three lives: your athletic life and your social life. And for some reason, a lot of people say you can only do two. But I had to say I completely disagree with that. I think you can easily have do all three of those things and still excel. I'd say one thing is you can get overwhelmed with trying to stay attached socially. It's probably the main one that could get away from you. But if you get your work done, get your practice in, then you can kind of have fun socially. I don't see any reason why you can't go out with your friends and grab a couple drinks or something. I just think it's kind of you can just have all three of those things going for you. You don't need to sacrifice that much.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think you get a lot of parents saying and a lot of coaches saying that you can't like be social or anything like that, or you're going to be sacrificing in school or athletically. But at SMU, I kind of figured out a way where I could get my work done and then actually go hang out with friends and make friends outside of the team as well. I think my freshman year, I kind of struggled a little bit. I didn't struggle. I just kind of closed myself off to being social, and I just stayed within the team. And I just did school and I just did golf, and I honestly didn't have that much fun. But then sophomore year, I started to open up a bit, and started to allow myself to have some more fun. And honestly, my golf game got better, and I was having a way better time. So I
That's
think you
awesome.
can, yeah, I think you can do all three of those things for sure.
I love it. I love it. Well, what do you feel that you most gained from being at SMU?
Uh, I'd say the SMU network, with the alumni is incredible. We have a lot of great guys around Dallas. And then our home course is actually in Dallas. It's called Trinity Forest, and it's a really nice private club. But we have a lot of SMU alums there, that are just willing to help you out. If you need a job, they're right there with you. If you just need to talk to them or anything, they're right there. Um, I'd say I learned a lot about myself, just kind of going about it and actually moving away from home. I think that was a big thing that allowed me to grow, was actually being away from my parents. Because I think a lot of the times you kind of see some parents get a little overprotective,
Mhm.
and it's easy to be a kid and just kind of let it happen. But if you're able to kind of go to a different city and uh, kind of grow yourself instead of allowing others to do it for you, it helps a lot.
Definitely. Definitely. That's great advice. Well, Ollie, we're going to take a quick little break and we're going to jump right back into it.
Of course.
Awesome. All right. So we are back and we were just talking about SMU, all the things it's brought you. How it's got, again, that great community. You guys are part of just a great group of people that are always supportive. Obviously, your experience being a golfer there has just been, one for the books. And now that you're graduated, you are on the Canadian tour, like you said. So you're working your way back up to get back to your masters. And what does that look like? What's the life of a professional golfer? So you touched on it a little bit. You're in Canada this week. You're going to
Mhm.
be doing a bunch of tournaments around Canada, but give us the rundown on what that sort of looks like being where you are.
Yeah. Yeah. So on the Canadian tour right now, we're on our 3 week leg right now. Was back in Edmonton last week, and this week we're in a place called Waskesiu, Saskatchewan. And then the last leg will be on Prince Edward Island. But yeah, just kind of going through these weeks. I guess you're just trying to. It's just so much different from college golf, because college golf you're actually a team, and then pro golf you get back to just playing as an individual. And you just pretty much trying to do the best you can do, and kind of trying to make your status a little better so you can move up a tour. So I'm on like I said earlier, kind of the bottom rung of the PGA Tour level. And then the next one's the Corn Ferry Tour, and then the next one's the PGA Tour. So if you finish like top 10 in the points list on Canada, then you can move on to the Corn Ferry. And then Corn Ferry is a little more lenient. Top 25 gets to move on to the PGA Tour. But if nothing works out in Canadian Tour, this fall is what they call Corn Ferry Q School. And there's 3 stages. So the first stage, it's like a tournament. So one stage will be 4 rounds of golf, and the top 30 of that move on to the next one. And then second stage, same thing, 4 rounds, top 30 move on to the final stage, the third stage. And if you get to the third stage, you automatically have Corn Ferry status. If you finish well in that tournament, you can kind of improve on that status. So yeah, it's a kind of a long process. It's not very wallet friendly, I'd say.
Wallet friendly?
You're gonna be spending some money. It's about, you can kind of look at it as a more of an investment. I'd say I'm actually you can get paid now when you play in tournaments, so that helps. But the pay isn't like unreal until you get to I'd say it starts paying well at the Corn Ferry Tour level.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's been a ton of fun. Actually, quite a few friends to travel with. Um, and I don't think it was recording when I said it, but I'm traveling with my buddy who actually he lives in the Incline area, and we practice at a Montreux together in the summers. But he's on the Canadian tour too. Yeah, I'm traveling with him, and then I know quite a few people, and it's a ton of fun. Just kind of traveling with your friends and getting to see Canada and trying to do everything you can with golf.
Definitely. Yeah, no, 100%. And, as you're going through these tournaments, I guess, do you choose what tournaments you're playing, or is there a schedule that it's like, okay, you have to hit these ones? How does it work in terms of where you're playing and what you're doing?
Yeah. So Canadian Tour has a set schedule, and if you have full status, and you kind of just go with that. You just the first half of the season is just four tournaments, and we're on our third tournament right now. So one more next week, and then they call a reshuffle. They shuffle in the guys who actually got points from like other stuff, and then there's four tournaments to close out the season, starting like end of July.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's a little interesting. You kind of do get to choose what you do play, but it is pretty much a set schedule.
I see. And like, is there any advantage to choosing what you play in terms of placing to get onto the Corn Ferry, or is there like you should hit them all and that'll give you the best odds?
Yeah, there's these things called Monday qualifiers, which is the way I got into the Barracuda actually, and it kind of just gives you a chance to get into other tournaments. So you can play those Corn Ferry Mondays, and you have to. It's just one round. There's about like 120 guys each week trying to do it, and there's four spots I think at those, and you probably have to shoot like 700 to probably 700 or better usually at these Monday qualifiers just to get in for the week. And there's guys that do that and have been successful. And then everybody's trying their heart out just to get sponsor exemptions. I'm trying to get one for the Barracuda this year, but you really never know if you're going to get it. It just kind of depends if you know some guys. I'd say it gets kind of political in the sponsor exemptions. But yeah, you could do stuff like that, or you could kind of just float where you are, like up here in Canada. But yeah, you could go about it a lot of different ways for sure.
That's cool. That's cool. It sounds like you're living it up there, and it sounds like you're really enjoying all that you're doing. So I'm happy for you in that sense. And obviously just the path you've taken and to see the hard work continue to pay off and everything you've been able to accomplish. It'll be great to see that next stage of it. And, we know you're going to get there. So rooting you on every step of the way. But Ollie, this has been a lot of fun having you on this podcast, hearing a little bit more about what it's like to be a golfer day in and day out. Want to close this out by going through this rapid fire round. So I'll just ask and you just shoot back. So first question, what is your favorite book?
Wow. I'd probably say 1984 by George Orwell.
Gotcha. Good book. Okay, next question. And I didn't put this one on here, but favorite golf course you've ever played?
I got to go with Augusta National, where the Masters is.
I love it. No brainer. Most influential role model?
Tiger Woods.
I love that. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, most stressful part of being a student athlete day in and day out?
School. I did not like school, but I just did
it. Okay. Favorite person you've ever liked to play golf with?
Oh, wow. I'm gonna go with my dad.
Your dad? How come? Tell us why.
I think my dad and I have pretty similar personalities. I think we're very kind of low key and pretty calm. And we like to have fun. Like we listen to music out there, and it's kind of more like a hangout instead of like grinding the gears or something like that. So
right.
No, we have a ton of fun together.
That's awesome. Well, what is your biggest hope to accomplish during your time on Earth?
I'd say win the Masters for sure.
Yeah, we're rooting you on for that. Super excited to see all that you're able to accomplish. And yeah, it's just great to hear about your path as a golfer day in, day out, how you've evolved over these years and are chasing those dreams. And like you said, it's a slow and steady process and something that doesn't come overnight. So really excited to see what the future holds for you. And where can people follow you and keep up more with what you're doing?
Yeah. So the PGA Tour app, if you like if you download that and then hit the thing, there's like Corn Ferry Tour and then the PGA Tour Canada. So you can follow me there. Also my social media, Instagram, just Ollie Osborne. Um, I'm pretty bad at it, but I'm trying to get a little better to kind of keep up to date with what I'm doing. But I usually post some stuff on there. And it's a public account, so go ahead and follow me. But yeah, that's about it.
I love it. I love it. Well, this has been an awesome time having you. Again, super excited we were able to chat and hear more about it. And, hopefully there's some young student athletes that are getting into golf or whatever sport that is and can glean something from this combo. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you too. Yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun to actually see you again and be on your podcast. I appreciate it.
Of course. Of course.